Hey, Teddy K here for the Best Buy blog, and in this video we look at the Fuji X-T5, one of Fuji's latest flagship mirrorless cameras that also takes the focus back to taking photos. For Fuji, the X-T5 is not so much a throwback as much as it is a return to a certain focus. So the X-T3, which was a photocentric camera, was then succeeded by the X-T4, which was more of a hybrid. It focused as much on video as it seemed to on photos. The X-T5 does away with sort of that hybrid approach. You can still do video on this, but it is very much about taking photos first and foremost. It's not so much the design that makes that clear. The Fuji, adjusted the body a little bit. I found that this camera is a little easier to grip, perhaps, than the X-T4. It's small-ish, so it's fairly easy to carry around. Of course, it depends what kind of lens you attach to it, but the mode dials are there, or I should say just the settings dials are there, because this isn't really about modes. If you are going to select any modes, particularly film simulations, things like that, you're going to do it through the menu system on the screen. But this is very much a manual focus camera. So if you are used to shooting in manual, you like shooting in manual, and you want full control, you can do that. You can shoot in auto on this, but frankly, if you are planning to shoot in auto exclusively, I wouldn't recommend this camera. You can get something more entry level for that. The X-T5 uses a 40 megapixel X-Trans CMOS sensor. This is the same sensor that is in the X-H2. I haven't used that camera. I use the X-H2S. I've reviewed that before. That was as much about video as it was about photos. And so what it seems has happened here is that Fuji is maybe focusing more on photography with the X-T series and then going the hybrid or video-centric route with the X-H. I don't know that for a fact. That's just sort of my observation based on what I've seen so far. You do have an articulating, well, you kind of have a flip out. I wouldn't say an articulating screen in this case. Unlike the X-T4, which had a fully articulating screen, which made it very easy if you wanted to shoot yourself, especially for vlogging, or you wanted to shoot video of yourself, or whatever it was, selfies, that sort of thing. That is going to be considerably more difficult to do here, simply because you can't see the screen when the camera is facing you. The camera will flip, and it will also flip sideways, which is interesting, in case you need to shoot on a certain angle and you want to get a sort of a view of what you're shooting. You can pull that off with this. You just can't really articulate it any other way. So you can't flip it out and then facing you. So that's just one of those examples of how you know where the focus really lies on this camera. You can still shoot a fair amount of video on this. You can shoot in 6.2K, so not 8K. You can also shoot in 4K at between 24, 30, 60 frames per second. You have options as far as what you can shoot. But again, there is a bit of a crop that happens when you do that. So you're not getting the full breadth of the sensor in that case. So again, just another trade-off if you're looking at this as a video camera. To me, and I'm just going to say this for the last time, if you are looking at this camera for video, just recognize that it's going to come in second from still photography. Image quality is quite good, and I've always admired Fuji for its autofocus, but also the fact that it adds some flexibility in what you can shoot. So the film simulation modes are really, really cool. They've always been one of the coolest things, I think, for cameras out there. And the fact that it shoots a lot of different things well. So whether it was low light, whether it was some action, whether it was daylight, I mean, street, nature, I mean, it handled all those things well enough. So I expected that, though, knowing what Fuji can do from the other cameras I reviewed. I expected that it would shoot well, and it does. My one gripe, though, is that when it comes to autofocus, so the focusing is fast, there's no question. The processor in here makes it that way. But if you want to focus on something specific, now the X-T4 limited to face and eye detection. Now, in this case, you also have object detection. So it can detect an animal, a pet, it can detect an object like a plane, a car, things like that. You always have to set it, though, to know what it's looking for. So, for example, if you go from shooting a car to all of a sudden shooting a dog, you have to make that change within the menu system. The camera's not going to know that you want to do that. And on top of that, it doesn't know, there's no way for you to change that very quickly. You got to go through the menu system inside and then change it there. There's no quick switch to kind of switch between them. Something that I think Fuji would be good to include, because it's been It was an issue that I recognized in X-H2S, and I recognized it here. I thought that there might have been a fix, but so far as of this review, Fuji has not done anything about that. If you are looking to shoot in bursts, just recognize that you are limited in how fast you can go here. So I would recommend about 15 frames per second is probably your limit. You can go to 20, depending on if you go with the electrical or mechanical shutter. But if you're thinking fast action and you're looking to shoot a lot of it, you are going to be limited how fast you can go. So again, another one of those trade-offs where you're not going to get the same kind of speed that, let's say, the X-H2 or X-H2S is going to give you, but certainly something that is an upgrade perhaps from the if you're upgrading from the X-T2 or T3, for example. All in all, I would say this is an excellent camera, and one that if you are fully committed, you're good to go with an APS-C sensor. This is one of the best you're probably going to find right now. If you want to go full frame, Fujifilm is not making full frame cameras, so you'll have to go with something with another brand. But as is, this is a worthy upgrade from, say, the X-T3. Now, if you have the X-T4 and you're still shooting a lot of video with this, I would not upgrade to this, simply because video is not, it doesn't get the same love, if you will, that the X-T4 gives it. So if you are looking to upgrade, say for video, you want to do more video, think of the X-H2 or X-H2S as a more worthy option, I think, for a hybrid shooter where you're getting more features and I think better performance as far as the video goes. But if it's just still photography that you're interested in and you want something that's fairly lightweight, easy to use, and get really good quality shots, this is a really good camera to think about. And that's it. And that's my review of the Fujifilm X-T5 for the Best Buy blog. I'm Teddy K. Thanks for watching.